Beep beep.
Who got the keys to my Jeep? Vroom. There's the intro to this whole show. That is so ghetto. I know, right? Welcome back to the KJ from OC podcast. I am your host, KJ from OC, back with Ashley Henson. Once again, Ashley, say hi.
Hi.
And everyone's other favorite special guest, Eric Klein. Eric, say hello.
Hello.
And of course, we can't forget Mary the Magnificent. Mary, say hello.
Hello.
You gonna move closer?
Yeah.
Thank you. I just realized that.
Mary needs her own mic.
You just go ahead and hold this. So I am back once again with all three of these people. It's going to be a roundtable discussion on a myriad of topics, from being a one percenter, being ghetto, Mike Brown video, and of course we're going to do some fun stuff at the end of the show. We have a lot of things to cover, and can't forget, Ashley and I are also going to review Colors. But first, let's get into Colors, and then we'll get into the other topics. First topic. So Ashley and I just watched Colors. This was my first time watching Colors in a full-length sitting, because usually I just saw clips. And I gotta say, stop yawning already. It's only like...
I never seen the whole thing.
Damn, and she just saw it for the first time too.
It's 11:18, by the way, people. Just letting you know that it is not 11:18 a.m. It's 11:18 p.m.
Mm-hmm. It was a good movie. There was some overacting in it. Damon Wayans playing a Crip. I just got a giggle. I know that was 88. I think Before Living Color came out like maybe a year later, or maybe later that year, which means that film was probably maybe made in 87, possibly. But overall, I give the movie about a 7 out of 10. I think some of the acting was a bit over the top. I like the message of it. The whole, it's kind of like a coming of age for the cop. I hate that the cop who was really trying to help people got killed in the end. I know I've ruined the movie, but it's 30 years old, so if you haven't seen it by now, then that's on you. What did you think about the movie, Ash?
I thought the movie was it was good. I will say it was better than South Central, even though I actually thought South Central was decent, even though it had some overacting and some issues with it.
Excuse me.
But I thought it was good. Great portrayal of gangs. Rival gangs and police officers, and to be honest, I feel like that movie's actually very relevant to today, and what's really going on with the divide amongst the police officers versus the members of the community, regardless of whether they're African American, Hispanic, or regardless of whether they're in a gang or not. It was a great representation of what's going on today. The movie also, I felt like, hit some good points. When we're talking about young police officers being on the force and not really, taking the time to really understand the job and just going out there as a hot shot. That was great too, because there's a lot of things that they didn't, that the young guys, I guess, coming into the force, the rookies coming into the force, don't understand and don't know about the streets. Right. And I thought it was very good at how you get to see that. You get to see the hot shot, but you also get to see the veteran let him know, like, hey, you kind of got to crawl before you walk. And I think one of the best lines in there is when he's talking to him in the room, because he's kind of mad at him after the way he was just acting. And when he comes to him, like, you're no different from them.
Shook him up. And
he kind of shook him up, and it was just more so like, you're just another person who all you have on is a police officer uniform, but that doesn't make you any different from the gangsters out there. Yeah. So I thought that was just really, really informative and really impactful, because it really got to show, hey, we so-called say we're clean in the streets, but you're becoming another person on the street. Yeah. So. One
of the things I mentioned when we were watching that is that it reminded me of Southland, which was a show on NBC, and they got moved to TNT, I believe. I think it ended about 2-3 years ago. It was a solid show. Always had like low ratings, which I was just like, this is so good. But that show, Southland, it was about LAPD officers, and because obviously it's the Southland, right? It was about LAPD officers and just how they worked within the streets, how they worked with the criminals, all the houses they would have to go into, and things that they would do and they got in trouble for, but then they would cover it up. It's like being a real police officer, right? You justify the bad things you do, and you're always supposed to be right, But it was such a well acted show, well scripted. That's why I like that show that much. And I wish it hadn't get canceled, but it did. But anyway, so yeah, it reminded me of that. It also kind of reminded me of that show. I always forget the name of it, like Last Shift or something like that, or Late Shift, when it had Michael Pena and Jake Gyllenhaal. Jake Gyllenhaal was a law student who was also a cop. Had to film one of his shifts. Yeah. And I forgot the name of it. I forget the name. It came out in like 2012. Solid movie where you have two cops who are going through the streets of LA, and I think they had to deal with some hoodlums, some thugs, some gangsters, whatever. And well, I'm not going to give that movie away because it's really, really worth checking out. Michael Pena and Jake Gyllenhaal, look it up. I forget the name of the movie, but totally worth checking out. But back to Colors for a second. I liked the movie, like I said, overall. And what I would have improved was I would have actually, if more actors could have been as strong as the guy who played Candyman, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not referring to Candyman. I'm referring to the guy who played him because he's in this movie as a parent in the neighborhoods that are getting policed. So the cops are saying, we need your help. There's this whole like town hall kind of meeting or whatever. Cops saying, we need your help. You need to report the crimes to us. Talk to us. You guys are witnesses. Tell us what's happening. And the dude who plays Candyman, whatever his name is, he's one of the parents in the neighborhood, and he's talking about, we would be helping you, but you guys need to be helping us. They wouldn't be doing these things if there were jobs here. We wouldn't be doing this if this was happening. So it's kind of like this, we can help you. We can get involved, but y'all need to get involved too. Because really, it's not the cop's job, obviously, to put jobs in the city. Tony Todd. Yes, that's his name. Thank you for looking that up for me. And also look up Late Shift or whatever that shit's called. It's not the cop's job to put jobs in a city. That's up to businesses. And if businesses aren't doing that, people are going to get in trouble. I remember talking to people who live in or have lived in desolate areas of America where there's not anything going around. And the funny thing is the arrest rates aren't as high. But it's just funny because these are white folks. So if you live in like Podunk, Alabama, Podunk, Arkansas, whatever, and people are saying, I grew up there and all there was to do is do drugs and party, which is the same thing people are doing in quote-unquote inner cities. But yet people in the Podunk areas aren't getting arrested for stuff. Well, then what's the difference if the same things are happening? Maybe they're not gangs. Maybe in Podunk, whatever, they're called something else. Maybe they are a gang, but because they're white, they may be looked at as, they're just wannabes. Wannabes can be a little more dangerous because they have a lot to prove. So just my take on stuff. Would I watch it again? I think I would watch it again if I was watching 2 or 3 movies like that in one day, as long as they were all cop and or hood movies, so I could compare the 2 or 3 and talk about it with a friend. If we just had like a lazy Sunday and nothing to do, I would totally do that. But overall, I give the movie about a 7, and now that I'm thinking about it with somebody overacting, like with the Latino characters.
End of Watch.
Okay, the movie's called End of Watch. Only a 7.7? They're out of their damn mind. The movie was a 9. At least it got 85 on Rotten Tomatoes, though. But yeah, so I'd watch this movie again in comparison to End of Watch and Southland as various episodes. So yeah, that's our take on Colors.
Colors is a good movie. I would rate it a 7.
Not bad. Next topic. Okay, so last week, I think it was Tuesday.
We're recording?
Yeah. Oh, we're always recording. Yeah, whenever you call, this shit is on. Oh, just kidding. So last Tuesday, I'm at school. What school do I go to? None of your business. I'm telling a story. By the way, let's backtrack a little bit. I have clients. I see kids. One of my kids said something to me that kind of struck a chord with me, struck a nerve with me. And it was a threat, a physical threat. And I used to work at a group home. And in those times I've worked in a group home, I've been threatened a number of times, and being that those kids were likely in the group home to actually strike you if they threatened physical harm to you, I used to take off my glasses if the kid would threaten me. So when this client said what he said, I thought, okay, I should take off my glasses and prepare for war. He's 8. I'm 39. There's no war to be had. But I was triggered, which is a Republican word for you're a pussy. So I was triggered.
Snowflake.
Chocolate snowflakes. And I was telling this story to several of my classmates. And I said what I wanted to do was take off my glasses and be like, oh, you're going to hit me? Oh, you're going to hit me? Oh, is that what you want to do? Which one of the guys says to me, oh, we don't need Ghetto, KJ. And I paused, as Ashley would say, pause. Dame Dash, pause. So I paused and I said, why would it have to be Ghetto? It was just angry. And he had no words other than backtracking and excuse. And it wasn't even much. It was just more of like fumbling over words.
Word salad.
Word salad, yes, very much so. And it didn't taste very good. It tasted like foot in his mouth, to be honest with you. And I went back to telling my story to the other 2 people who I liked. And as I continued telling the story, I'm seeing out of the corner of my eye this person leave the room. Because they had to go anyway. But it was just interesting to see them still sitting there, standing there. And I thought to myself, that's got to be awkward because he just said something that he totally just got called out for, not realizing what was embedded in what he said. Because human anger is a thing, right? Being triggered, being reminded of something that you've gone through is a thing. It could be PTSD, it could be some other stuff, whatever. So rather than claiming it to be a thing, which Ashley and I have already talked about, why would he make it sound like the action deserved to be in a place, or gave the action or the thinking or whatever a noun attached to it as opposed to a verb? Is that what you said?
No, I said.
I'm trying to remember. I'm sorry, I'm old.
No, you're good. You were talking about ghetto, and a lot of people misinterpret the term ghetto because it's technically a living quarters, as far as like ghettos are actual living places, not necessarily a verb. And they're making it like an action term, as far as like, okay, you go and do that, or that's ghetto, or go and it's becoming action instead of it's descriptive, and instead of it actually being a noun as far as a place,
right?
But that's what we were talking about, and it was just misused. And I'll let you.
No, and that's a great point, because it was misused, and I think my follow up to that point was, once again, it's the objectification of black people being given some kind of term to make them a thing as opposed to a person. And that might be off out of left field for some people. For me, it just seems like one more time for someone to associate somebody black with something negative. He could have just said, we don't need an angry KJ or inappropriate or unprofessional, which it would have been to react that way. But I said it was a thought. I didn't say it was, I did this. It was a thought. And so...
But how do you interpret that even as being anger? Because you could have just been expressing yourself, and sometimes even that gets taken out of context. It's like, oh, you're angry. Nah, I'm just very passionate about what I'm talking about. And you could have just been passionate about what you were talking about, not necessarily like you were angry.
Yeah, well, I think that the situation was... the kid threatened me from saying if I win the game, he's going to punch me.
Yeah. But you knew he wasn't going to do that. Yeah.
I wasn't sure.
Oh. I'm sorry.
I wasn't sure.
Home and stuff, and he's just saying after having so many reactions, it's like, well, this is usually how it goes after
the trigger.
We've already said so many things. He said this. Now I have to take off my glasses.
Because I literally thought, what if he does?
Yeah.
But I'm glad I didn't react in the way that I felt. Because my heart rate kind of went up a little bit. Like, what are we getting into? What are we getting into, young buck? You want to go a couple rounds?
How big is this 8th grade?
No, 8-year-old.
Oh my God, that's what you look at. Well,
I mean, he is 8. Impulse control is low.
Yeah.
How off? You don't know.
And I did process with him, because that's what you're supposed to do when you know, because I probably need to process for myself. Like, we need to do this right now so I don't go to prison again. And so we did, and eventually...
Same thing.
Exactly. And he did eventually say, can we just play the game? I said, it depends. Are you going to punch me if I win or if you lose? No? Good. Let's continue. And so we continued and everything was fine. Glasses didn't come off, but they should have, just in case, because I'm not trying to get my glasses broken.
I see him as this guy. I see he could have said other things to get the same response, probably. Like, not saying like in a good way, like how he interpreted this as, it was like a trigger. The man, not the 8-year-old we're talking about. The way he said, don't need ghetto, KJ. He could have said, like, don't need gangster, KJ.
Yeah.
He could have said, I think he uses those types of things like interchangeably and stuff. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think it's so embedded in culture, people don't even hear what it is because they're just so used to saying it. For instance, if he would have said gangster, I would have said, why does that have to be gangster?
Right, yeah, still.
Because it's one more thing. Like, why would you associate me with a gangster? Don't other people get mad and angry too? Don't other people get triggered?
I get the impression that this is somebody who, that's how he, like, lets things go or whatever. You know what I mean? That was just gangster whatever. You know what I mean? Whereas, it's usually like you were just acting like normal.
Yeah.
And he will interpret that in a different way.
Because if it was someone else who had said that, would he have responded the same way to them?
Like if it was me telling the story.
Yeah.
That's what I wonder. Like, I don't know if that would have been the same. Oh, we don't want ghetto KJ, or we don't want ghetto Brandon, or
Yeah.
I don't think he would have used that same description.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And that's where you realize what's embedded in what people say is that there's some belief in there that black folks act this way, white folks act this way, these people act this way, all that kind of stuff. And when you really break it down, is it really without context? We start, well, look at the facts, that kind of shit. But when you really look at it, you're going to find behaviors in all types of walks of life. You're going to find teen pregnancy in white folks, in black folks, in Latino. You know what I mean? You're always going to find that.
There are TV shows about that.
Yes, MTV. What is it? Pregnant at 16 or 16 and pregnant?
Yeah,
whatever.
it's on like 17 seasons. What are they doing?
It's true.
I'm about to go down.
That's a whole nother.
But it's these behaviors that get associated with one group of people that look a certain way, as opposed to a culture. You know what I'm saying? Right. So we can sit here and say, well, black people have the most teen pregnancies. Maybe Americans have the most teen pregnancies. If we're really going to talk about culture, the culture of the United States of America, there's obviously more than one America, North and South and Central, South Central. Stupid movie still, but when we start putting these behaviors on certain groups of people, then it looks a little more racially divided and racially. There's more of a racial context to it. When there really isn't, it's more of a cultural one, unless you start really getting into it. And why would this group within this country behave this way? What are the contexts around that surround that group of people that wouldn't surround another group of people that live in the hills? You know what I mean? So are opportunities different? So maybe education's different. Are you assuming that people who live in the hills have the same education as people who live at the bottom of the hill?
Which is untrue.
Exactly. Everything's going to be different. And so people, I was having a text conversation with someone earlier about a different topic, which will be next week, but about how people believe one thing that's true to them, and then anything else that's true to someone else, they're like, no, that's not true. Because it's not how you live. But not how you live doesn't mean that this other person doesn't live this way too, or live in a different way.
Yeah, a lot of people aren't open to other people's experiences, really. I mean, or they don't take them into account when they pass judgment on other people.
Yeah,
I think that a lot of the time.
Yeah, and we're going to run into that in the show.
Going back to that young man's ignorance. and I mean it in the sense of not knowing, not necessarily you were ignorant.
Damn it.
I was going to say, where is that being taught? Because you don't just develop these things over time. Like, oh, well, you know what? I realize that, you know, this group of people are just, they're just who they are, you know, and it's just like, because I've witnessed it. No, you didn't. I think you got that from the media. And I think that has gotten to your system and to your psyche and said, you know what? It must be true because they said it was true. It must be true. So now you're walking around trying to confirm that.
All it takes is like one video or picture, and you have confirmation bias. Speaking about similar things, I was talking to KJ about this chick who I'm freaking like online comment wars all day. That's like my thing. It's my jam. Type it out. Get it all out. Okay?
Twitter fingers.
Yeah, right. Pretty much. But anyway, so she hates on Muslims like all the time. She's this Israeli chick or Jewish. I was raised Jewish. Okay, so I'm not religious or anything right now, but I know like all about Judaism and stuff, and I've taken into consideration all different religions and stuff. I know a fair amount about Islam, enough to know that not that many of Muslims want to really hurt or destroy people, you know? Like, I know that much. So this chick just puts up a video, and it's all in like Arabic, so I don't even know what the comments is. There wasn't even like a C translation button, you know. I'm like, can't somebody just what are they even saying?
It says order number 5.
Yeah, right. It's this giant whatever, and so it's this video of this Muslim woman being held down, and she's being like whipped with a belt in like a room. It's clearly like a regular room. It's not like outside somewhere. It's in somebody's house or whatever. And she's like, this chick who posted the video was like, here's all that Muslim Islamic woman empowerment. Here it is, right there. I'm like, what? So I just had to say something on that. Like nobody's arguing for this. Like nobody is saying this is what we want. Nobody's saying like, yay, this violence or what's happening in this little video here. Nobody's advocating for bringing that to America. We're talking about, I mean, those people in that room doing that thing, whatever's happening there, do not represent like all of the Muslim culture. Yeah. And so I'm like, how? I was just trying to touch on that for her. Yeah. Just be like, what are you getting at by posting this? Really, like, I'm under the impression she's like, this is them. Look at these animals, you know, and how they treat women. I'm like, well, yeah, no, there are Muslim women who don't get treated like that, and they strongly stand up when that shit happens, you know. So I mean, what the hell?
It reminds me of
talk about those people, not the shitty ones. Like, yeah,
right. And it reminds me of how people will use Muslims do this, and black people are doing this, and Mexicans are doing this. But boy, if you bring up the KKK, they're just out in the boondocks somewhere. They're not hurting anybody anymore.
Yeah, they just like hoods on their faces.
That was in the comment. Well, that was in there. I brought up the KKK. Said it like, and she's like, you don't even know what you're talking about. I'm like, look, I know enough to know that the KKK doesn't represent all Trump voters, okay?
Yeah.
Right.
You could say the same for ISIS and all of Muslims or any extremist doing some crazy act in the name of Islam or whatever. You could say that doesn't look very holy or religious to me. I don't buy it, buddy. Sorry.
Yeah.
And that's why people like Obama didn't want to call, they've never wanted to say Islamic terrorists, because he doesn't associate religion with terror, right? Religion is like peaceful, like all religion. Like there's no religion that's like
everyone must die,
kill everybody. Right? Usually religions are like welcoming and want you to be a part of the religion. And so when you say the two Islamic terrorists, it becomes quick to people in their brain to just associate the two, you know, like Islamic terror. Well, he's one of the good ones, though. He didn't do anything, you know. People have heard that before. You know?
Yeah.
It's just another.
It's interesting. It's very interesting because I've had people invite me to mosques. Actually, it was years ago. I didn't end up going because my buddy also wanted me to read a whole bunch of stuff before I went, and I'm like, bro, I just want to visit. I just want to. I'm not trying to do nothing.
You must know this before.
That's actually kind of how he sounds. You know Rod? You know Rod? Hi, Rod. But yeah, it makes me think. I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever been out in Irvine over by the 5, but there's like a street.
Tell me about it. I live over there.
Hayes. Yeah. It's, oh, you were? Okay.
I feel like I live over there.
Okay. There's a street over there. A couple friends of mine live off of. Josh and Angie live over there too. And it's a predominantly like almost Middle Eastern community, and you can assume there's Muslims. I think I've seen some hijabs and burqas, or I'm not sure which.
Sikhs.
Sikhs.
Yeah.
6.
My bad.
One more than 5.
Yeah, they're just walking around. I know who we are, man.
6. It's like Drake walking around talking. No, but if Muslims are so scary, then why is that section of Irvine not blown up? Not, you know what I mean? It's just like the thinking of, well, I saw this scary video, they're coming, and now I better prepare myself because they're coming. They're already here, and they're not taking over.
They're not doing anything. They're just living, man.
Yeah.
I'm like, and going back to that little video, there's the chick who's getting hit with the belt. I'm like, look, there's a room full of people. That's the one who's going to come to America, okay? The chick getting hit with the belt is the one that's like, see ya. I don't want to deal with this anymore. I'm sure all those other guys would want to stay exactly where they are.
Because that's where they can get their power. Yeah. That's a great point.
Yeah.
It's a great point.
So they're not coming here. They're
staying there.
Do that shit.
Death to America.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That was an attempt.
I make a show for you. I want you to listen to on my show. Bada boopy. It's all back to family.
I'm glad everybody, well, maybe just me and KJ do voices.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And so, this whole conversation of what is ghetto started when I posted this thing last week. I kind of regret it because now I want to call out people's names, but I don't know if I'm still Facebook friends with them.
Ghetto post.
Oh yeah, it was a pretty ghetto post because it just kind of went. Actually, that's a bad. Anyway, so I asked the question.
Did it get ghetto?
Kinda. It went off. It was lit, yo. It was lit. I asked the question, what is acting ghetto? And people had a field day with it. Effie Moore said, notifications on.
I smiled every time I saw that. I was like,
because Effie loves to see how people respond. She's
like, all right, here you go.
Grabbing popcorn. Yeah. She's a great person.
She'll get in it too. She'll stir the pot, whatever. She's cool.
She stirs it. But yeah, so people start responding now and giving examples of what it is to be ghetto, right?
It's a pretty loaded question.
Yeah, giving phrases of this is ghetto and that's ghetto, right? And I'm going to get to my favorite answer as to what their responses were.
Favorite meaning good or?
Favorite meaning in your face.
Okay.
So one person says, catch me outside, how about that? That's ghetto. Someone else said, same as being a thug. So only thugs exist in the ghetto?
Yeah.
Someone else posted a Urban Dictionary photo of the word ghetto. Urban Dictionary.
Mm-hmm. It's only online.
Right. I know.
You can't physically purchase it.
I know. You can't. Because it changes every day because it's user generated.
Catch me outside, how about that?
There are 9 things that come up for the Urban Dictionary version, which came out in 2008, this definition. Yelling at your boo in the middle of the street. Using the walkie-talkie feature on your cell to discuss personal drama in order to save minutes. Dressing for work like you were going to the club. Wearing house slippers outside the house. Taking pride in being broke. Flashing money you don't have instead of making your money last. This is just making me angry.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's an attack on black culture. Yeah. Right?
Ignorance.
Having a new ride with large chrome rims but don't have a job. Wearing your same clothes 5 days in a row but keeping them clean and pressed. Maybe they can't afford new clothes.
Right?
I know, right?
It's fucking resourceful is what it is, you piece of shit. That's what it is. Sorry, I'm a Christian. We have affiliates. Running from cops for no reason just to see if they can catch you.
What?
Ghetto is also known as hood rich. That's not true. That's not true. He got 5 likes, and I'm wondering who the hell are they trying to be funny? Like,
it's blasphemy.
Oh. One person, I'm kind of surprised. 2 people I'm surprised by. Maybe he was just being funny.
Right.
But I didn't laugh.
Yeah, when I read that, I didn't even get that far down. I was like, whatever.
Yeah. And this is where you kind of come in, Eric. When Martin P., let's call him Martin P., says, when you ask a question...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right. Now you remember.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's because Bam I was jumping in with Bam.
Bam came in with a shotgun.
Oh, yeah, we were talking about...
Ain't nobody talking when I'm talking, fellas, so shut the fuck up. That's what he came in with. He said, speaking of which, do ghetto guys use body spray called Ask? 2 people hit like, and I'm kind of wondering who the hell they were. That's surprising. But anyway, my buddy Bam says, well, in the Caribbean, that's how many pronounce ask. K comes across as a hard X. Martin P. says, no, because they're still deleting the S, besides a few who I've heard use it are actually from the Caribbean.
He's trying to validate his personal experiences with the few Caribbean dudes he's maybe met.
I have this one Caribbean friend.
And they don't do that, so no one else could.
Yeah, exactly. There it goes. And Bam explains the entire his history of acts and how it's in the dialect and shit like that. Mm-hmm. And he talks about where it came from and all that shit. And the guy's like, yeah, well, no. He obviously did not get it. Totally was not getting it.
Bam's response eventually became, he tagged a dude in it, Martin P. Jesse Shieldlower, the president of the American Dialect Society, says axe has been used for 1,000 years. It is not a new thing, it's not a mistake, he says. It's a regular feature of English. And I love when you, Eric, came in, and there's a whole big thing that Bam posted on NPR. That's why I called you on the show this week. I called you. Actually, no, you called yourself. But I picked you up.
Man.
But Eric says...
Give me a rep.
Do you remember what you said?
A few things, but no, go on.
I could start speaking with a list. Oh, that was his response. Do you remember what that was? He said he could start speaking with a list.
Yeah, so the guy basically said ask him to spell it. Ask him to spell axe and see how they do it. They're not going to spell it the same way. Write it out, write it out or type it or whatever.
So then obviously they wouldn't say it that way.
And then the guy says something about people having a lisp. He's like, I could just start walking around with a lisp. And, I can't even remember exactly how he says it. But he goes on to say, I could just start having a lisp. That doesn't mean I'm, speaking correctly. And I'm like, first of all, we're talking about an accent, a dialect, versus a speech impediment. Those are two different things.
Different things.
Yeah, they're not even related, and you're saying they're interchangeable. You could do one or the other, maybe. What the hell?
And my favorite part about Eric's response was, and you probably don't remember you saying all this, but
I've said it all.
It's right here anyway. So it says, how is that all the same? You're conflating a speech impediment with an accent while also stating both are interchangeable and potentially all part of an act. Ask someone with a lisp to write the word lisp and see what they write. They will obviously not write lisp.
Yeah. Someone with a lisp, they're not going to... Oh my god. I can't write it out. I can't write lisp.
Oh my god.
They're not... It doesn't affect their writing or anything. God.
And the other example you gave was, maybe you guys have also heard this too, Washington. You ever heard someone say the state of Washington?
Or I'm gonna wash my clothes.
George Washington?
Is this a southern thing?
I've heard people use
Maryland, but that's because I have family from there.
Maryland?
I'm from the South, and I've never heard it. But I'm not deep South, so that might be something
my dad's
different.
from North Carolina.
I'm from North Carolina.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Tar Heels.
Tar Heels.
Petey Pablo.
Yeah, my dad's super into the. Hold on, another thing. Oh yeah. So Hickory. That's my
Hickory.
grandma was at, and I would go to her a few times a year. She's dead now.
It's almost.
I need this.
I don't know what to do. I don't know. I feel your pain.
It was. I need the.
But you're barred from talking from now on, and that's nuts. It's barred. It's nuts. All y'all.
You should have been laughing. But they're all talking about my dead grandma.
But I loved your response because it really just pointed out. Just because someone speaks differently does not mean they can't spell, that they don't know how to speak, right? And then I also said pajama and tomato are stated differently, or pajama and tomato are stated differently. Hope future jobs aren't dependent upon my pronunciation or spelling, because I spelled pronunciation wrong. Then I spelled wrong on purpose. And I said hashtag now I'm trolling. So I was. But it was just so a point, like, just because I say something differently doesn't mean I'm not educated. Doesn't mean I'm ghetto. Doesn't mean I'm suburban. Like, let's talk about this. Let's random. All right,
let's do it.
What are suburban actions? What makes you suburban? If we're talking about what's ghetto and urban, right? What makes you suburban? Go.
Complaining about how other people live.
I don't like the way they live over there 400 miles away.
Seriously, I can talk.
I was going to say saying like 12 times like this and speaking my words fully out.
Like, literally? Just literally.
Oh my god.
They say every single word like this. Everything is sound out.
I think they've taken also like shorthand from internet speak
and use it
in real life.
Mm-hmm.
OMG. Everything's a brief.
It's so suburban.
LOL, man. LOL. It's like not even laughing. Just
or
LOL.
lols. Lols.
Yeah.
Instead of laughing, you just say lols.
That's what I'm saying.
With a Z.
LOL.
Yeah.
What's up, my nizzle? That's suburban.
No one uses that anymore.
No, but suburban.
Do you know what's suburban? Lil Wayne.
Oh.
What do you mean?
Lil Wayne music.
I mean,
that's
like black people don't do that. Like if they keep making it like, oh, black people, like, we blast.
That is
we
suburban.
don't do that. Like that's not
It's
a
like
thing.
a confirmation bias thing. Seeing Lil Wayne run around.
He doesn't speak for us anymore.
No.
It's an Emmett Till comment.
Well, he
didn't speak to us before.
He said a bunch of other things too.
Yeah. The Black Lives Matter thing.
Yeah.
What she say is a rando.
My apartment's so full of randos.
Shortening already short words. Like random is already 2 syllables. She said randos. She didn't even, still it's like takes the same amount of breath.
That's so funny.
Even,
but it's shorter letters.
Yeah, or something. Like,
so like.
Sound like you carried it.
So serious, like and stuff, right? Upward inflections.
Can I get lemon in my water? Thank you.
It goes down and up. It's like lemon in the water, and it's like down and up.
Everything sounds like a question.
Seriously?
And when it's in a statement,
I'm like so serious right now. Like.
Was that a question?
Why are you adding right now to what you're saying? Because of course it's right now. Why do you need to tell me it's right now? I know what time it is. I know Flavor Flav. I know what time it is.
Right now. Just right now I'm hungry.
I'm so hungry right now.
LOL.
So I don't even know where else to go with this whole.
We've just touched the tip of the iceberg. Right? Haven't gotten that deep.
But here's my favorite response. I totally forgot. Okay. My favorite response is from Cam Rice. Me and Cam go way back to like the 90s when you guys were born. You young pups. He says, funny how someone who's never been to the ghetto can give you the answer.
Yeah.
That hit. I got 8 likes. Yeah. And a couple of responses too, because it was just like church, basically. Or is it church? I don't know. Which one is it? Is church? Do we go to church?
I thought it was church, but I'm not one to speak up.
It's church, because it's can't hate, you can't hate. I watched the I watched the Urban DVD.
Did you check Urban Dictionary for that one?
I did.
Sure.
Church.
But I like how you said to the ghetto. So now we're talking about a place instead of saying you are ghetto.
Right. Mm-hmm. You said it. Yeah.
Good job, Cam. We appreciate you. Willie H says, pretty much anyone who can't speak, talk, or conduct themselves in proper respect or manners.
But what's proper respect and manners?
Thank you.
Now we're determining what's proper.
But all the hillbillies that we know, that struggle with... that just struggle with grammar, just in general. You would not call them ghetto.
Yeah, you wouldn't.
You wouldn't call them ghetto.
You would call them a hillbilly.
Exactly.
But it's the same action and the same behavior.
Right. Those people don't understand they have more in common with each other because they're just trying to get by in like regular day life.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But they have so much shit going on. They, have funky clothes or whatever the fuck, who knows.
Mm-hmm.
Busted teeth,
yeah, right. I mean, that can go anywhere. That's not a cultural thing. I mean, that's
right.
that has to do with a 1% thing, okay?
Or a low income thing. That's why you have messed up teeth, because you can't afford braces. You can't afford dental care.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
A lot of it's all like lower 50% of America is kind of all on the struggling rings, and like people don't understand. They don't realize it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't even want to talk about it.
Yeah.
People just pick and choose. That's like a crook is somebody who's black and who maybe stole something from the store. That's a crook. But what about
a thief?
The other people?
Oh.
I'm just saying in general. But what about other people who embezzle stuff?
Yeah.
Like you're still a crook.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, you're a crook.
And you're going to get sued.
But they don't. Sometimes they don't. They get like a fine, and they stay in business.
Give me some of the money back.
They don't.
Yeah.
They like their operation continues. They don't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They're like, well, like banks, like some big banks, they like launder drug money.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a real thing that happened. For drug money, for fucking, we're talking about locos or whatever. Somebody down south.
Yeah.
The deal was, and
Pablo Escobar.
Wells Fargo's trucking right along, no big deal. Not like just got a slap on the wrist, like that'll be a couple $1 million or whatever it was. I don't know.
That's just it. Yeah.
Yeah. No one's like going away.
When they write a check,
You pick up somebody that's laundering money, like who's just on the street, like dude, we're never gonna see him again.
Exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They locked away. The key is
so my response to Willie H was, sounds like the suburbs to me, because where I grew up, for people who didn't know how to speak, he says can't speak or talk. That's the same.
Look, this guy he can't even do it already.
We went to the same high school. He was a year older. Step it up.
You see how you both were in the same place?
Same place.
He didn't get it, but you did. Look
I
at
sure
that.
did. I got 2 degrees, working on my 3rd. High five from everyone. Yeah. My debt's incredible. He says, or conduct themselves in proper respect, or in proper respect, or do you mean with proper respect?
Probably both.
Who knows what he meant? And he says, or manners. And I said, it sounds like the suburbs to me, because we had the same issues. I'm going to hit like I'm on shit. We had the same issues in the suburbs growing up in Orange County. So how can you equate one type of behavior to, well, that's ghetto? To me, it's suburban. Or it's just, as we were talking last week, it's human. This is what humans do. And given certain contexts that happen before these people are created, these contexts are created, and the people now suffer because of that, because now they can't get a proper education to speak or talk or conduct themselves properly, with respect or manners.
It's not on them.
And then let's talk about the fact that your context dictates what's proper.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you might be in one area, the way that you're acting is perfectly normal, it's fine. You get another area, then it's out of context, and then it's improper. So you go to whatever area that you feel like is the ghetto, talk the way that you talk, and you're going to stand out, and you're the one that's ghetto.
Right. Big time.
So context matters.
Stop eating with your hands.
All context matters.
Stop eating.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Crap like that.
And that's why I posted after that, in regard to Martin P. and, of course, Willie H. People don't speak how they write. How someone is with their friends does not always equate to how they are in a job interview. Because someone said, would you? I think Martin P. said, would you speak like that in a job interview? Well, if it's a dialect, I'm going to speak like that at anything. At a pool party, a job interview, the beach, the restaurant, whatever. It's always going to be the same thing, because that's how I speak.
But the words.
This guy's not understanding like a level of like personal identity with other people. Like, of course you're not going to do that kind of shit on like a job interview. You're like meeting somebody for the first time. Like, you kind of want to be your best, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then like you let your guard down eventually, and you let some of yourself out. Well, if you get the job or whatever the hell.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe they get along with how you act, and it's not even a big deal. It ain't freaking ghetto or whatever the hell. It's just how you are.
It's just funny, as I just got a text message from someone who said, "You're welcome." But guess what? There was no apostrophe R-E. It was a possessive "your." As in, here's your welcome.
Oh.
They didn't spell it right?
They did not. Mm-hmm. They used the wrong... Doesn't mean she's uneducated. Or does it?
That just means she wants to use shorthand. Like,
no, it's Y-O-U-R. It's the incorrect version.
Well, I mean, I get that, but sometimes certain people just text and you just want to do a shorthand version.
Because it's better.
Sometimes you slide.
Yeah.
Sometimes you swipe.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
When I go to your, I always have to like do an extra thing to get the E on there.
Or sometimes it autocorrects on that phone sometimes if you don't want it to. Like, it corrects and creates a whole nother word.
We're making all kinds of excuses for this chick, but...
She's uneducated in Ghetto.
Still, I'm over that kind of stuff too. Like, I've seen so many people complain about, oh, well, if they don't use it the right way, not even going to date them. Okay.
That's intense.
Yeah.
That's so intense.
That's walls.
Yeah, right.
Who died and left you to grammar police? Like, that's just too
Grammar Nazis.
I've also, like, seen a lot of other shit.
God, you're sick of aliens. It's so weird.
Seen a lot of other shit where...
Black people.
It's basically talking about, studies have come out saying spelling and a lot of that shit almost it doesn't necessarily matter anymore as long as the point gets across. So if somebody's making the point and they misspell your, and you understand the entire sentence.
Except you attack the other part.
Yeah. Like you get what that is. It doesn't take you out of the, you can read it just fine and understand what it says, spelling and all. Then somebody has conveyed their thought to you, and that's the point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're trying to communicate something, and you just like, well, did you spell it right, buddy?
And I feel like even in like when you talk about cell phones or something like that, like you're sending messages. Okay, now we're not saying that you're sitting down here in a class and it's cool. It's not like you're sitting down here in a class and you're writing
a paper.
Yeah. Now I can understand. Okay, like subject verb agreement. Let's get this together. Like you can't write the way that you talk, and I feel like that's probably a generational thing because it's so much shorthand. Sometimes you end up doing that. But it's a cell phone. You know what I'm saying? It's a cell phone. You actually, you shorthand. Everything is shorthand right now. Now, if you're doing an email, I get that as well, depending on who you're talking to.
Serious.
But I just feel like that's intense to say I don't want to date somebody because of that, or it's like, okay.
So they're probably going to mistreat you too.
I'm like,
because they mistreat the English language.
If it's that deep, then maybe you need to get checked.
Don't focus on the small shit. Focus on the big shit. Which reminds me of a parenting thing I posted, but that might be for another show. We on to the next topic. Next topic. So, 2 weeks ago, my bad, I posted something about 1%ers because I had a random thought. And my buddy Sean was listening to the show from 2 weeks ago and said, I'm listening to your show and you said in the intro you're going to talk about 1%ers, and that was a convo he got in on. Me too. And I totally forgot to bring that up when we were doing our show a couple weeks ago. So I promised Sean, and I'm sorry and I love you, thank you for reminding me. Promised Sean I would touch on the 1%er post today. I don't want to be a 1%er, that's it. Thank you. Next topic. Just kidding. So 1%er, for those who don't know what a 1%er is, it's about the 1% of the world. Wait, what is it? Like 1% of the world have like the most wealth? Is that... Come on, Eric, help me out.
There are a few ways to look at this. Basically, there are a small amount of extremely wealthy people and a large amount of poor people, like virtually poor people, and that's throughout the whole world. But it's in America. It's in every you can look at each country individually, and it'll vary. But it's extremely bad in the U.S. and the entire world is bad, yeah. Mm-hmm. Like the deal is the top one, like however many, like 0.1% maybe. So like 400 people, or like less than 400 people, have as much money as the bottom 50% of the world, like the entire population. Mm-hmm. So we're talking like billions of people have as much money as like 400 dudes, like some people that could like fit inside my little warehouse where I work, like that's just a few guys. That's like a few airplanes worth. And these guys probably own all the airplanes, all of them. And that's basically the problem, is that it's done on purpose, is that some places are kind of like fighting against it, or how they can, but it's just rich people control a lot of things, and that's basically what like the 1% would be about. Is those rich people that like 400 or whatever it be here in America have like way more power
in wealth than the rest of the world.
Yeah,
which is insane.
Definitely,
absolutely insane. And that's what I was thinking about when I said I'd like to be a 1%er one day, but I cannot be that selfish. What I'm saying is, it would be great. It would be great to have a ton of money. When I say, or tons, really, when it comes to weight, tons of money. But at some point, you're really just going to be thinking about yourself and how your needs are being met, and what you want to do with your money, and not so much about how's this affecting the rest of the world, or the rest of my city, or my county, my country, whatever, however you want to look at that. And I don't know if I could ever really be a 1%er, which is really all it was about. But my buddy Sean jumps in, and he says, just because one is a 1%er doesn't mean that said person is selfish. That's a good point. 1% is small, but that's still a lot of folks. And I happen to know some 1%ers personally that do a lot of good. And I see his point. I don't know the 1%ers that he knows, because I don't know any 1%ers. Because
I'm like questioning that. Like, I'm imagining 1%ers, you know, they're like on another planet. Right? Like, this guy's just like, yeah, I know these guys. Like,
and you're still broke?
Hang out at the gym or something? Even then, like, what? I mean, if he does, that's great, cool. But I mean, dude, if I had a 1%er friend,
we're hanging out, like, all the time.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he does. I mean,
I'm finding reasons to hang out with this guy, you know?
It could be. I mean, maybe that's how he knows them.
Should we be introduced to this guy?
Yeah.
I just had lunch with Sean a couple months ago, and it was.
Is he still broke?
He's not broke.
He's not broke.
No. Who said he was broke?
I'm just saying, because I mean,
he's not a 1%er.
You're technically broke when you're not a 1%er. So that's what I'm just saying. Like,
wait, is Shaq broke though? Is Shaq broke?
I mean, from them Bengay patches, I don't know.
Want to feel good like the diesel?
He just mumbling in every freaking commercial.
Especially when they put him in that little car. You see the one with the little car?
Like me today in the Porsche?
Yeah.
My knee still hurts. Oh, God. But so a full discussion, argument, discourse happened. And the funny thing is, I didn't post this to start a discussion. This was not intended to be a podcast topic. It was more intended to be just like you know what, 1%ers can be very selfish. And what I'm saying is, there's a lot of wealth that goes into there, and if you're not giving back to people, what are you doing with that money? You know, if you're not being philanthropic, and you're just keeping it and like, well, I'm going to help out my kids and help out my family, or maybe not help out anyone, and really just I'm going to do what I want to do and build businesses, then it's like, well, how's that helping people? Because you still have a ton of money left. Are you going to leave it to somebody? Are you going to leave it to what are you going to do with it? And so the next person down, Sean Williams, responds and says, sorry, but yes, it does. And yes, it does make you selfish, even for the 1% of Sean. But the other Sean's supposed to know. So we have two Seans in this conversation.
Just call him by the last name.
Well, I want to know the Sean with the 1%er friend, yeah.
He's married, sorry. He's taken.
Oh, I don't want
got a couple
him.
kids.
I just want to know him.
Oh, you want to know?
I don't want him.
Well, next time I have lunch with him, I'll bring you along.
Can't have
He's a nice guy. He really is.
Those degrees of separation.
What people do you know?
I know.
Like, I just need some connection.
That's it.
Right.
That's it.
No, he might have connections.
The ends, right? Just get.
We need them ends.
And Billy Brisby says 1% is too large of a number for what we're really talking about. It should be more like 0.001%. So what Billy's talking about is the philanthropic type who are actually going to, you know, not just donate a little bit to money, but actually really be trying to help people
like
out there.
Bill Gates,
Musk.
Elon Musk. Like Elon Musk trying to take us to freaking Mars. Okay, that's like his plan. Like that's his goal. And
but
people
I think
are starting.
He wants to go to Mars. I'm just being funny. I'm like
people are tagging me in the emails now, and they're like, "I'm glad to that you're joining us on this exploration of interplanetary travel." I'm like, oh my god, what? I should just save this email. This is legit. But yeah, so there's guys who want to do good and are doing good. Like I keep going back to Bill Gates because he and there's maybe like a few other guys like Jimmy Carter, an ex-president, who they like devote their lives to like building houses and like ending disease.
Education.
Yeah.
I know so many Gates Millennial scholars, like their education is paid for. It doesn't matter where, like graduate school, college, graduate school, 2 degrees, like as long as you're a Gates Millennial Scholar, education is paid for.
Yeah.
Period.
Oh, too bad they have it for me.
Yeah, well, me neither. I didn't catch that trend.
I didn't catch it either.
But yeah, there are people who do good. Is basically the point. But that doesn't negate the really shady guys who are freaking like gerrymandering districts and shit like that. You know, there's billionaires here who are just going to control the entire like electorate so that people vote certain ways, and that's where I have all my beef with rich people, really.
And I'm looking at this committed funds from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, formerly known as the William H. Gates Foundation.
I forgot about that. Sorry. It's biology today, 314.
But I'm looking at these numbers here for...
Look it up.
The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And just the numbers here for donating money to fight infectious disease control or malaria control, stopping STD control and AIDS and tuberculosis and reproductive health care. Like, we're talking millions upon millions of dollars each year.
Yeah.
Hundreds of millions of dollars.
Him and like Jimmy Carter have like almost eradicated diseases in certain parts of the world. Like, that seems insane to me. Like, they're going to other places where there's like special tapeworms, and like the tapeworm is like so bad it's in the water, so like everybody has to get water.
Mexico.
No, not quite that.
Okay.
Jimmy Carter's not going to Mexico, man. I forgot what his place is, but I mean, basically he's got it down to like the last known cases of it. Like, we're talking about an entire disease that he's all like single-handedly gotten rid of. Like,
that's great.
That's crazy, and it's his personal doing. Like, what? And people still come down on him like, wow, he wasn't a great president. Like, what? He's building homeless people houses and shit. Like, he's doing all kinds of stuff. But he wasn't a great president. Like, oh my god, fuck.
And then Sean and Sean go back and forth, and Sean says he knows the 1% that gives away 90% of his income away. I mean, that would be a lot of money. If you make $100 million a year and you're giving away $90 million a year and you keep 10, well, that's still a lot of money.
I'm about to say 10 million is hell. Well, I'll take 1 million.
I'll take 100 grand.
Who you telling?
This guy just passed it out.
Trying to get to biology right now. 314.
90% of this guy's money can come somewhere else.
Yeah,
I mean, some of that could come to us.
I have some debt to pay off for school.
Yeah, right?
Hey now.
But then
like 5% kickback. You know?
But Sean Williams says that's not a 1%er. He says that's not the kind that represents the weight of the massive wealth inequality. Top 1% in California is around $450K. I assure you he isn't giving away $405K. Oh, that's a typo, whatever. $450K a year. And what he shows you his taxes, LOL. He's trying to talk shit now. The real problem is the top 1% of 1%, 62 people who have more wealth than 350 million people of the world, half the planet. Yeah, so, I mean... I get where he's coming from, but it doesn't mean that this person that Sean H knows is not actually a part of that 1%. And I don't know. I'm kind of perplexed.
The way I see it,
it's like he's on different topics. Almost.
Yeah, he's trying to say, hey, they're not all bad. There's some good guys out there. Like, yeah, there are philanthropic ones, but there are so many other bad guys. That's the real problem. Like, I see the 1%, like the shit ones, who they're the ones who point the finger at everybody. Like, oh, it's the Mexicans taking our jobs, you know, stuff like that, or no more protesting and shit, you know, because that's riots. Yeah. Every protest is a riot now. Like, they're like the same fucking thing apparently, and. That's all coming from the top. That's all coming from the 1%. You know, somebody's telling them to
dictating it.
Yeah, all it takes is them to feel that way and verbalize it. And to me, Donald Trump is one of those guys. He's one of those 1% guys, and he's totally just been like, well, the Muslims, the blacks, and the Mexicans, and yeah.
We're going to do that in a few minutes.
Yeah. That sounds good.
And so one of the things that Sean H. brought up last night is we were going back and forth kind of messaging through Facebook about him reminding me about the show, was just that he brought me up in the conversation. I missed it because I was doing stuff that day, so I couldn't respond as people were responding. But he says he's responding to my post here, and he said that being that he knows me, I've known Sean for probably 14 years. God, that's a long time. And like I said, we just had lunch a couple months ago, and we sat down and talked for like 4 or 5 hours, and just talked about a myriad of things, right? And he, being that he knows me, he says that I believe that if you became a 1%er, you would not let that get to your head, and you wouldn't want to still give back and try to help out this and that. And I appreciate that comment, because I would like to feel that I wouldn't be a selfish asshole. But the temptation is strong, because you're like, I could do so many things, but after a while, personally, I'm gonna be like, I don't have shit else to do.
Yeah, you've done it, man.
Pretty much, right? Like,
I'm out of stuff to do.
I think when I did my first show last year, I think $1 billion was the lottery. That was one thing I talked about. Like, what would I do? And I said I would obviously pay off all my debt, help out friends and family with their debts and stuff like that.
I would pay off the debt, give them extra money, make them pay you back.
I was like, whoa.
Making more business for myself.
Yeah, see,
make a record label, put out an album. No, I'm playing. And there were some other things I would do. I mean, I would move, of course. I would finish school. I'm not going to, just sit back and not finish school, even though I probably could. But there's some things I would do personally for myself that aren't big, huge things. People would go travel. I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go backpack here and live in Europe, and that's fine if you want to do that. But for me, it doesn't interest me. I feel like I'd rather just be around people. I'd probably be at Starfish Laguna every day, because I love that place.
Open up your own club.
I would.
Yeah.
I probably would.
Like
and just buy out Starfish Laguna, make them work for me. And I could go there and get free stuff all the time.
And then you become the 1%er.
I would buy up a lot of businesses and then shut them down. No, I'm kidding. But no, I appreciate the comment, Sean, and I would like to think that I would not become a selfish asshole, and hopefully I wouldn't, but the temptation would be very strong. Could you guys have 300? Look, what was the number? We're talking billions of dollars. What would you do if you had billions of dollars, Eric?
I mean, probably the same, like kind of how you were saying. You can get my own club. No, just kidding. I would want to travel. Yeah, see the world. I enjoy soccer, so I'd go to some crazy freaking soccer match. Just like Italy. I don't even want to say Italy. I just meant to say Europe. Mm-hmm. Just go all throughout Europe and do whatever there. So that would be like the selfish part of me, doing stuff like that. I guess the rest would go into like political activism.
Bernie Sanders.
How it could change all that shit. So it shouldn't be up to just one person like me being able to change everything. But if I got the money, got skin in the game, make it happen.
What would you do, Ashley?
Honestly,
you had billions of dollars. Say $200 billion.
I answer this question differently every time, because I feel like I find different things and I figure out different things. Like, oh man, that would be cool to do this. Honestly, I would have to pray on it. I would really have to pray on it, because I would have to pray that it doesn't get to my head, because I don't think people understand that not having and then having is a trippy thing to your mind, and you wonder why people go insane.
Yeah, even with just, I could say, from like having not making much money at your current job to going to a job where you can live like okay.
Exactly.
That's like a shocking experience.
It's really trippy, but I don't know. Honestly, I would, like I said, I would have to pray on it. But I would definitely, if I did win the lottery and I get all that money, I would keep a normal routine. No one that has to know
that you have all that money,
I have the money. Because once people know that you have money, or like, oh, we're scavengers, let's come over there and nope, just keep it normal. Do your same normal life, live it the way you would normally live it, but have money, but be able to also give back in the sense of like,
don't buy a castle.
Well, but like, I mean, personally being deeply involved in charities, because I feel like people don't really get involved in that. And I say that because it's just like, oh, it's a middleman, you give them the money, and it's like the actual charity never really gets the money. It's like the middleman gets the money. I want to physically be able to work with the charity, be there, not say, oh, I'm a part of this charity, but you just give money and you're not there.
Right. A lot of people they'll pass it off, and it's like, this is my do good thing. I gave $1,000 to these people.
Exactly. Like and it's just like, but you don't even know the mission statement of the charity. Like, you don't even know what the charity is about. And it's
like that like $1,000 sounds great, sounds good, but what's it gonna go to in charity or at the place?
Exactly. Like, I get tripped out when they always talk about, well, we gave all this money to Africa, and I'm like, where is it going? Africa Africa should look better than America by now. Like, as much money as like they've been so-called giving to like Africa, it's mind-boggling to me. But I don't know, like homelessness, like that's crazy. The incarceration rate, like we would have to figure out like better justice system. Like it's so much stuff I would like really tap into because it's a lot.
See, that homelessness thing taps into that 1% thing too, because there's like a stat that said there are more open houses in the country than there are homeless people. Like, you know, there are however many hundreds of thousands of vacant homes that are just
sitting
like
there.
they're, you know, that have been built on whatever. But we have also this homeless problem, and there's instead of taking care, that money could have just, instead of going to those houses, it's just been around these homeless people somehow.
Yeah.
But, you know, homeless people are just going to spend it on the worst things.
And which irritates.
Yeah.
And it's just like the churches can only house so many at a time. And it's like, even then, it's like...
You need staff, too.
Yeah.
And that's not, like... I met a guy who used to be homeless, and he was like, he had an issue with church charities that were coming in, because in order to gain services, you had to go to church. Like, that was a stipulation.
Cool.
And so that makes me a little hesitant when it comes to the church being involved. I
like
get you want to
rules.
evangelize, but like serve first. Like you show them.
You want to eat, you better know Jesus.
Like, it's obligation.
Image of Christ, don't try to force it.
Make me lie so I can eat.
Down in his face, so.
That's not how it's going to work anyway. I mean, for someone to like want to even engage and like join the religion, they would have to be curious themselves, not just be like, well, I got to do it. You know, that's not how they're going to want to be involved.
Yeah.
If somebody's genuinely involved, they're going to be like, all right, how am I getting this food every week? You know, like, I should see where this is coming. It's coming from the church. All right, I'm going to go check this place out.
You're forcing people to lie to you, to your face.
But see, that's why when the homeless then end up in prison, like we talk about, then our incarceration rate continues to go up. Yeah. Or they're sitting in substance abuse rehab centers. I've known because I've worked in one, and it's like, okay, they're sitting in there. They're not necessarily addicted to anything. They're just homeless. You know, you're just looking for a place to sleep, a place to eat, you know, a whole bunch of stuff like that. So it's a lot that I would want to fix. And like I said, I would have to really pray on it so God can give me the discernment to figure out which direction to go first. Because some things are at high priority and some things are just not. Like
maybe like a mental health facility that kind of does like a few things at once, where it's not like mental rehabilitation, but like drug rehabilitation, getting your act together from if you've been out on the streets or whatever, they can house you in this place or something like that. Yeah, something like that. Like, there were places, I guess, that existed similar to that in like the 80s, but they were like not great mental institutions.
Oh, psychiatric wards,
And so those are all shut down, but that means all those people never got cared for. They literally, like, the doors shut and fucking they're just out in the boonies doing their own thing.
They're in Santa Ana now.
But there's
look, I've been places in New York they're at too.
Yeah.
Like, there's an actual place called Kings Park, which is like this giant mental facility that's been shut down, and now people go there. It's like, oh, it's creepy. Oh, it's going to be on ghost hunters. Oh, like this whole thing. But it's like also creepy because it's so big. It is massive, like acres and acres, and there's like underground tunnels in this place. But there's however many people there, and you could I've seen videos from people walking around in there, and it's like just this like desks turned over and just like papers and stuff wherever. It's just like literally it was shut down, and like nothing was done after that, you know. And so those people are gone, or they're out there
out in the street, homeless, committing crimes.
And instead they get thrown in jail instead of getting treatment and stuff. Which creates a cycle.
There's a lot of those programs out there, a lot of those organizations out there, but they're depending on government funding. And so when you have the 1%ers who are controlling the government and don't want their funding going down to
take that away.
To those places, that's where you have people not being served.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of nonprofit, a lot of government agencies that's out there that wants to serve these populations, but if you have that, what is it, bottlenecking, where like you're literally trickling, like you're hoping that it trickles down and it just never gets there. Never gets there.
I saw something on that MSNBC thing.
Chicago one?
Chris Hayes, that dude who stood up, he was super passionate. Basically, there was this guy who was saying like that same thing, like, we just want help, we just need some funding, and we can work. We just need the help from like our political affiliates. Like, we need them to help us out. And there's one lady on stage who I guess was some Congress
from the mayor's office, I think.
Mayor, yeah, something like that. And she's like, I know that man. We worked with him. She said, like, okay,
I remember this.
He's good. Yeah, I know. We've tried to help. We do. And then he got back up and he's like, I know you guys getting money, but I haven't seen any money. So where's it at? You know, something like that. Like something where it was super quick. It was like he got the last word in, and it also got the point across that
they don't help.
They're not helping. They're just not doing the shit they're supposed to do.
Exactly.
Yep, absolutely. Mary, what did you want to do with billions of dollars? What would you do?
Pretty much along the same lines. Pay off debt, my debt, family debt, everybody's debt. And then start a business, start a nonprofit, and like really just get to work.
Yeah. There you go. What would your nonprofit be focusing on?
I'm going to keep that to myself.
Okay.
But what I would like to do is in that nonprofit make sure that it's living wage. So I was watching this interview with the 1%er. He had an $8 billion business. Like he was in Silicon Valley, like a tech person. $8 billion, and then he got to a point where like, what am I going to do with all this money? And so everybody from the janitor up makes at least $80,000. And then, you know, your pay goes up depending on your position, but even as a janitor, $80,000.
Right. That's livable.
That's enough to live in Silicon Valley. That
was the point.
And so if I had that money with like for to set up a nonprofit,
hook up salaries.
Like make it possible, like so that you don't get burnt
don't
out.
Be like $40K
for the work.
Yeah,
I think that's the thing. Like people that go into public service like that, you don't get because of the lack of funding. You don't get the pay that you're worth. Like you're going out into the streets helping people until you're burning out because you're trying to make things work at home while you're trying to make things work at work.
Everything's volunteer.
Yeah.
You know, like that's where like all the work is for like legitimate helping human beings. And you're like, well, you gotta volunteer for that. What? It's still work. It's still our work.
You want somebody to work full time and like still trying to figure out like how to
and
live.
not getting paid.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You're doing more work than the people who are getting paid half the time.
Exactly, because the people that's getting paid is more administrative. You're doing the legwork.
They're just like making phone calls and shit. Something stupid. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. That guy, he like did some research and he was like, oh yeah, I saw that $80,000 a year is like the norm, or like how people mentally feel like they can pay for everything. Like they can live live comfortably.
Yeah,
I guess that's what they would call it. And so he just was like, oh, let's do it. Everybody gets 80,000. But that meant that some people, I guess, like got dropped down to 80,000, or no. Some people, they were already at like various wage incomes, you know. So somebody was already making more than another person. Now suddenly everyone's making the same. Some of those guys, even though they were making more than they personally were making before, got upset. They're like, oh no, the janitor's making.
People felt people left the business.
Yeah, people got upset.
That's their personal problem.
Right,
80,000. We're talking
like 80,000. Why are you mad at my money?
Excuse, like,
you know, they have their own ways to like justify morally or justifiable.
This is a person that's making $350 to somebody's 80 and is mad because I was just making like 100 like before you did that, and I have these degrees. So what?
Yeah.
You're still living.
Yep.
You have everything that you need.
Yeah,
but you want to feel important, more important.
Yeah. But what makes you more important than a janitor?
Exactly. Because I'm bringing in business. I'm bringing in billions.
You would notice if the janitor didn't show up to work, you'd be pissed off if he didn't show up to work that day.
You can't take your 10-minute poop break.
Exactly.
Because you like, no one flushes toilet in 4 days.
Exactly. You would be really mad.
I mean, that place already sounds pretty messed up if that's already happening. But yeah, I mean, seriously.
It's a pretty shitty environment.
Pun intended.
So, thank you, Sean, for bringing it up. I hope we touched on this enough for you to satisfy your need, you hungry, angry person. I'm kidding, I love you. Next topic. So the next topic is, and I'm laughing because it's not going to be Ben Carson. No, fuck that. By the way, Ben Carson, I rescind my comments I said last week about him and the slave thing. That was what he was referring to, and, well, shit. We would like to trade Ben Carson for Bruno Mars in the race draft. Can we do that? Can we?
Bruno Mars is already in our camp, so
Yeah.
That's a bad trade.
I will trade Ben Carson for Justin Timberlake.
he's been traded.
Yeah.
We've been had him.
I will trade Ben Carson for Bernie Sanders.
Okay. Let's do
Can
that.
we agree on that?
Well,
All right. Ben Carson gone.
well, I guess I don't know.
Bernie Sanders in.
There you go.
Next topic. All right, now we're going to cover Mike Brown and we're going to get angry.
Traded the store a little bag of weed and got 2 boxes of cigarillos in return. He left his items at the store and he went back the next day to pick them up. Mike did not rob the store.
This is an updated video.
You didn't see it like that.
No, I didn't. And it's fine.
Still gets the point across.
It does, I believe, because once again, he didn't rob the store. So anyone saying that he did rob the store is full of crap because he didn't rob the store. You know, I was telling Bam the other day, I was like, well, when this all happened, this was 2014, and I was in a Bible study, and the guys that I was in the Bible study with, as we were discussing 1 Corinthians, so I think it was, people who want to inherit the kingdom of God. And it was like it was like 1 Corinthians 6, whatever it was. I think we talked about it a couple weeks ago. I think liars or something like that. And so someone brought up this case and people witnesses lying or this person lying or this person lying. But it was always a way to try to validate. It was a thug who got shot, and so that's all that matters. And it was just like, but you're not even, like, I'm thinking to myself as I sit here in this corner full of white dudes in a room, predominantly white dudes, and I'm thinking to myself, you guys aren't even using all the facts, right? And no one's questioning anything, saying this was a legit killing and he should have died because he attacked the cop. But people don't remember, well, why was the cop confronting him? Oh, because he stole from the store. That's not why. And since that wasn't why, then why was the cop confronting him? What was the issue? Because he was jaywalking? Child, please. You don't let that go. Yeah, it's illegal, but come on. So's littering. Cops aren't going to pull over in the street because I dropped a piece of gum trash on the floor or on the ground. You know what I'm saying? Like, who's really making a U-turn for that? Don't let that shit go. Go find a criminal, right? And so with the people who have said that this was a legit killing, and there's new information out there to say that it was not a legit killing, there's still people validating what happened. And that's the thing that really gets me, is that the first person who responded, and I love this guy, Eric Klein. You guys might know him? No? Okay. He says, I've been getting in so many new online arguments, discussions, thanks to this video. And this is actually, so you didn't see the video before I just showed it, but you were arguing about it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because, people described what was happening in the video of an exchange and how he's going to come back later for stuff. It's basically, I read that, so I'm like, oh, okay, it shows that in a video. I don't need to see the video. I'm like, I've seen enough already. Like, you don't need to convince me that the whole situation was fucked up. Like,
yeah.
And it wasn't because of Michael Brown.
Right,
you know
right.
I mean? Yeah, so... But the same people are coming up saying that, it was legitimate, or trying to justify it in
It's
various
always
ways.
legit.
Yeah, like, even with this right now, it's like, well, that proves he was a drug dealer. Proves he was just a thug drug dealer. Like, that's one of the...
For weed?
Right. Yeah.
Like, every high schooler in the world, in America, is a drug dealer then.
No shit. And he's certainly not the first or last, and I'm guaranteed he's not he's not the dealer and shit, He's just some dude.
In a dime bag, maybe.
Yeah, right? And those kids are just like, oh, alright, whatever. Like, it didn't even seem like a big deal for them. It wasn't like... They were on their own surveillance camera where they were.
Oh, I know, huh? Yeah, that's dumb.
That they have weed there, but...
And they got lawyers, and Mike Brown can't have one because he's dead.
It's all affordability, too. That's another part of the 1% thing. You can afford to not go to jail.
Right.
Yeah, and I remember, as I was saying before, as I was sitting in this room talking to these dudes, as it came up in Bible study, which is just more of a validation, in my opinion, of their political view and just their social stance, I remember talking to Bam, my brother, and my cousin, like, the next day, and just how I felt so alone in that room full of 8 other dudes, 6 other dudes, whatever. And I just, like, I don't even belong in this group, because it's like they lost who Jesus was, and it just became, this guy deserved to die.
Right.
As opposed to, What about a mom and a dad who just lost a son? What about siblings who just lost a sibling? Friends who just lost friends? Whoever, whatever. You know, it just became like he deserved to die. Sorry, his one crime was, you know, stealing some. If that's a crime punishable by death, I should have been dead.
Deserves to die. Yeah. Like that's what pisses me off. Like, regardless of what a person does, how dare you say that a person deserves to die? Mm-hmm. Like seriously, check your humanity. Like that's what boils me up inside. Like, how dare you say that someone deserves to die? For what?
Remember I was telling you about that documentary with the jail and stuff? Mm-hmm. So there's this dude who murdered a bunch of kids in, like, I think it was Finland or Iceland, one of those Scandinavian countries, and they have like a maximum sentence of 10 years in their jails. And their jails, I was explaining to Mary, they're like very light maximum security, light security in general. So there's this documentary where somebody was asking a father of one of the children who died, and like, you know, this guy basically went around saying like Muslims are shitty and that's why he like killed some people. And so this one dude who was in the interview, his son was killed. He wasn't a Muslim, he just was like in the area. But yeah, so this guy basically he was talking about his kid who had died, and they were pressing him for information about like, well, do you want to kill the guy who killed your son? Do you want to do that? I mean, he took your son's life. How do you would you want him to die? And he's saying like, no, I don't feel like that, because this guy, he was like, this criminal thought he had the right to take away my son's life, but he didn't, and I don't have the right to take away his life.
Yeah,
like that's how he felt, even for a dude whose son was killed by this particular dude. Like, talking about humanity, empathy, and all that stuff. My friend, who was hard pressed for all this shit, he was like, he means all of that. Like this guy in the interview talking about how it's like, I don't have the right to take away somebody else's life.
Right.
Like, where is that here? Here in America.
Exactly.
We can do that.
Yeah. Here in America, people are like, oh, yeah, well, I think he deserved it. Like,
we've become too much about law and order, and if you don't obey every single stupid law, then you deserve to die.
Who told you, though, that someone deserves to die? I think that, I get what you're saying. That's why I'm always just like, I'm stuck on the fact that deserving to die and someone just ending up dying senselessly is okay. I can see the difference, but like just saying, okay, you deserve to die because you did something wrong, and therefore you need to be like out of your side of this world.
Yeah, right.
So my favorite comment from this thread here is from my boy Eric Klein, who says, cracks knuckles. Nope.
Oh yeah, but somebody else said something first.
Yes,
maybe touch on that.
I'm going to get in there first. Joseph P. I've known this guy for a long time. Says the officer made contact with him being in the street. The suspect.
You've known everyone for a long time.
I mean, this is all Orange County. The suspect attacked the officer while he was in the car, while he was running the suspect's information. The DOJ, FBI, and state investigators and lawyers found that the officer was lawful in his actions. The video of the store had no bearing on the stop of the victim's actions. So he was a drug dealer and he was dealing drugs. That is what the video shows. The video also shows that there were 3 other drug dealers who did not get killed.
People who were complicit in the actions. Like, oh, that's what I was saying. They are all on their own surveillance footage at the place.
Yep.
With weed. I'm guessing is not legal wherever they are.
Probably, which is why they were hiding it. But my boy Eric Klein, hi Eric, says nope. Made contact with him in the street. Wilson drove past them, yelled at the two as they were walking, kept driving, then reversed and stopped in the street. Witnesses say Wilson called Brown over to his car. Attacked the officer while he was in his car while he was running the suspect's information. Eric also says, you might be the only person with that narrative. There is evidence of a struggle in the cruiser. Perhaps Brown was pushing the gun out of his face. There is not enough evidence to create a full narrative, yet Wilson and his buddies have it all figured out. The same DOJ report you cited claims the entire Ferguson PD was racist. Don't forget that part. That part. And that's what I love about you, Eric, is that while you've taken a side of this isn't complete, you still put the other stuff out there. Like, yes, this might be a fact and this is not a fact, but you're creating a narrative, not you, but Joseph P. was creating a narrative that isn't really fully true.
No.
It's just a narrative. It's just, this is what I believe. Because there are other things within that belief, right? If 1 plus 1 equals 2, like we said before, how did you get 1 to begin with? Did you use 0.5? Did you use 2.5? Did you use 0.75? Did you subtract 3 from 4? How did you get 1 to get 1 to, plus 1 to equal 2? That's what I'm getting at. And I love that you said that. And of course, Effie says, all drug dealers must die. That's all I read. Which is totally true.
That's a true joke.
Yeah, that's very much true because that's exactly what dude basically said. And then, of course, Bam comes in with a shotgun because that's what thugs do. I love you, Bam. He said, this attack narrative is strong. Hold on to it. The aggressive black person narrative is very ingrained. Hence why this fallback is something held dearly. American as apple pie. Now, eventually, he and Joseph P. got into it respectfully. Yeah. Got into it for a while, just going back and forth. And I love that there was something that Bam pointed out. I think it was, here it was. He says, you don't need to explain murder or manslaughter. I mentioned neither in the follow-up as a problem with the actual charge you stated. Because Bam asked Joseph P., do you think, I think he was talking about Eric Garner at this point. Do you think Eric Garner should be charged with, just in case of,
in order to like try and see where this other guy is coming from, Joseph P. Mm-hmm. Bam was like, all right, let's take another case. Let's take the Eric Garner case. Do you feel like the cops killed him, or what happened there? Or did Eric Garner do something of his own volition that led to his death? Mm-hmm. That's what Bam was asking.
Yeah.
Did the cops do it, or did Eric Garner do something that led to his death? That's all he was asking.
And so Joseph P. said, legal definition of manslaughter and murder are what you are missing. Murder has intent. I mean, it's a really long thing, and that's
explaining
where Bam says you don't need to explain murder or manslaughter. I mentioned neither in the follow-up as a problem with the actual charge you stated. Are you reading at all? And eventually Joseph said, sorry for misreading. I mean, it took like 2 hours.
Yeah.
I reread it. A discourse of respecting each other's mistakes can be made. I do appreciate the candor of the discussion as it is, which is almost his way of saying, my bad, I misread it, and I appreciate this, but I'm boning out because I'm done. But I never think a person is stupid, because Bam had made some, sarcastic comments. Stereotypical of him. Just kidding. He said, but I never think a person is stupid, trust me. I was just looking at a brief for tomorrow and did not read your post as carefully as I should have, which to me also means I have a job and I was busy.
Right.
I didn't care that much.
Because I hear this a lot of times from people is that, oh, I'm sorry, I can't get into this anymore. I have a job to go to.
Yeah. Dude, half the time I'm like responding, I'm at my goddamn job. I'm like, I shouldn't be doing this.
Well, don't engage if you don't.
Exactly.
Yeah, that too. He's like, well, now that's how he's got to back out by saying like, I'm busy.
I'm busy doing lawyer stuff.
Right.
I think he wanted to point out that he's a lawyer, so he knows about this stuff.
He could just, you're very right on.
But that was so not the question.
He could just say like, you have good on. Hey, he said a lot of other good things. I liked how he prefaced everything up until that point where like, sorry, I'm busy.
He missed the point. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he said like a bunch of good things, but then almost like, then you shouldn't have even started in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Why'd you say anything?
Yeah. And that seems to be the issue a lot of times with discussions like this, is that people misread or misunderstand or didn't read one part or something like that, or they're reading into it too much. And it's like, but I'm not saying what you're relaying to me, what you think I said. Because the words you're using and the way you're phrasing it is not anywhere near what I said, right? There's those people who might think that I'm a racist. They think I probably hate white people. I'm like, I'm pointing out racism as an issue. I don't think white people are below me or above me or anything next to, other than there are people who look differently than I do, but we're all human, period. So we should all be treated with the same type of treatment, right? But people still think, oh, because you're making it a race issue, you're not a racist. Dog whistle politics. You smelt it, you dealt it. But overall, I mean, you guys saw the video. What do you think differently about this? Do you think anything differently about this, or is it kind of just, it's the same?
And any new feelings, or pretty much just rehashing the old stuff? It's kind of how it felt for me.
Well, it felt like rehashing the old stuff, but some of it actually feels like, well, I kind of felt like that was probably the story from the beginning that just was not told, and it's just like, this is normal, and it's a shame that it's normal to us
because it keeps happening.
Because it keeps happening, and it's just like, well, how do you attach a feeling to that if we're not being able to actually experience the real and the truth of what actually took place? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do I attach a feeling to that? Like, I kind of knew this. You didn't even have to tell me, and I kind of knew, like, okay, there was a backstory. Yeah. Something happened, and it wasn't what the police told everyone or what the media told everyone. So it's just like, I kind of knew that happened already.
Yeah.
Even from the first video where it shows him strong-arming the store clerk, so everybody likes to say it like
so
that.
Far-fetched.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
Right. It's not even that intense, really. Whatever happened, that little exchange, and definitely not deserving of death, obviously. But I mean, you got the impression that what happened there, you don't know. We don't get the full story of even just what that little exchange was. And the cops were the one that showed it to us. Like, we're all here trying to figure out what happened on the street. And the cops were like, hey, well, this happened in the store. Mm-hmm. And we're like, well, is that even related? And they can't even tell us from the second they showed us that video. Mm-hmm. That, like, days after that happened, I remember everyone being crazy because they just randomly brought up that video. And we're like, what is this?
Change the narrative. Donald Trump move.
Right.
Yeah. And
There's
it
always
was
something missing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it was like, why did they talk? Okay, of course they're trying to like paint it in a bad light. But even in the initial press conference, they said they're not related. Like that, like Wilson was not responding to this incident, what had happened. Like that was the first thing they said. Months later, like, well, he was responding to the call, blah, 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 as if nothing fucking happened. It was the first press conference, never happened. Like, all of those things the first guy said, which was like, whatever Joe Schmo dude that actually worked there was, he said a whole bunch of things that was completely different by the end. By, like, the end of the whole... It was...
But I think that gets me is that they recant these statements and then act like you're not supposed to, like, hear or pay attention to it. It's like, what the... Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, obviously, I'm seeing they said something different than what they are coming to in the end, and they're saying it as if, like, it's always been like that. And
it becomes this, well, the media's lying to you, or the media's... and it becomes the liberal media. Well, why can't people who aren't Republicans or who aren't conservatives just be... independent thinkers? I don't label myself a Democrat or Republican. Never going to be a Republican. But I did vote for Bernie, so you might consider me Democrat for that. But overall, I like to just think about things and process things rather than just say, well, my side's doing this is what I should do. Don't do that. Right. Just get in and actually talk about facts as opposed to, well, let's see, what feeds my bias?
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what people do. Like, they go out searching for what's going to cooperate their position. And I think that's what's so difficult about the times that we live in. Like, you have whatever. You have the president of the United States undermining the media. Yeah. Like, that is ridiculous to me. And then people are eating it up like sheep. Mm-hmm. Like, they are eating it up.
Sheeple.
That is destructive to a democracy. Like, that is fascism, dictatorship 101. Undermine the media, throughout propaganda, and then it gets people just not even knowing what the facts are. And then you have people that are only going to one site to get their news.
Breitbart.
Why are you going to Fox News every single time? Even the people that go to CNN, why are you going to CNN every single time? These people are reporting on the same stuff. They have different facts. Look at the whole array, and then make your mind up. Like, just because they say they are talking the way that you talk doesn't mean that you need to get your news from them. Like, it doesn't.
Maybe they're wrong.
Like that. Right. Like that Milo Yiannopoulos.
Yeah.
So he said however many like disgusting, crappy things about various people. Like, he's just said a bunch of different bad things all around. Like, troll hater guy. Like, he says one thing. He says, my pastor is the one who taught me how to give good head. So how many layers of that is just like a fucked up thing to even like think about and say out loud, and he had no problem saying it. Anyway, he had said all these bad things, but eventually it came down to he had said something defending pedophiles, like saying like
pedophiles, like Thailand or something.
And I think he was like a victim of it himself with what he's been saying about this, like
Trump.
And that's his outlet for it. But aside from that, people still listen to him the whole time up until but he's had this like crazy mind the whole time, and people took them to he said the one thing about pedophiles. But he said all these other freaking shitty things too. Why are you listening to?
Because we believe those things, but we don't believe the things about pedophiles. That's disgusting. Of course, it's disgusting.
Well,
but isn't racism also disgusting? Isn't thinking of other humans as less than you disgusting?
Right.
And people love to revert back to there's bad in all. There's bad black people. There's bad white people. We're just people, bro. Like, if we really just want to get down to it, it's just people are bad sometimes.
Yeah.
But not bad because they're just evil people, possibly. But what about why they became who they became?
Now we're getting clinical.
Context always matters. Context always matters. CAM. I'm running out of things to say.
I was going to say, talking about media and press and stuff on the White House, InfoWars applied to get credentials so they can have a seat in there. InfoWars is like InfoWars.
We talked about it last week on the show. I don't know if you heard the end of the show last week, but
I guess I missed that.
We're gonna burn in hell. Yeah. Sorry, I'm a Christian.
Excuse me.
By the way, I gave you a shout out before I played that video.
It was hilarious.
Yeah,
you have to see. Have you seen it? Oh God, you have to.
Did you see the one where he face palms?
Yes. Well, you can't. I can't play that one because it's just you can't.
No. I just meant like.
Yeah, it was funny though.
Saw it.
Yes.
That video.
Is he just a super? But I mean, the president listens to him. Like, he's done like one-on-one FaceTime interviews with him, and before he was the president. But using that same Vice News, that was the outlet that provided that awesome.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Please show it for her.
I will.
But he's basically this insane conspiracy theorist that thinks certain things didn't happen, but they, like the Sandy Hook shooting, like kids in Sandy Hook, the Northeast, where
didn't really die.
Yeah, like they didn't really die. Those are all actors.
Yeah.
No gun control. Everything's fine.
Yeah, that really is just the media and the government trying to infect your mind with gun control. That's like what he's thinking.
True conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
True. What did he say about the Bible?
Well, there are spots on the Vice News thing where you guys got like clips like that, and it's like, I don't remember how many times, it'd be like 5 or 10 times Donald Trump said the same thing that Alex Jones said. So you see Alex Jones sitting in his chair saying his crazy shit. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, you see him turning into freaking, he needs to be exercised. and Donald Trump saying it at the podium like the next
same
day.
Thing. Yeah.
And all these people going nuts. I'm like, this is not fucking okay.
Yeah.
These people are getting the worst information ever. That's like where this Obama wiretapping thing came from.
Well, he didn't mean wiretapping though. You know that, right?
Yeah,
he meant some other kind of
wiretapping.
Yeah, some other kind of wire that got tapped.
Not wiretapping, wiretap.
Yeah.
That could be anything, like your microwave. So whatever.
Get your feet off my couch, girl. Taking the pictures of black people. But yeah, so Mike Brown, new information, same old narrative. He's a thug who died. He was a drug dealer who died, and some people don't care.
Can we explore how we think it went down? Like, that's why I even posted the thing about how I think there's like Mike Brown's DNA is on the gun. Blah, blah. I think that I was trying to explain to her earlier, like, what is he even doing at the cop's window? Like, how did that happen? Tell me, as like
he let you walk up to the window.
Yeah. Like that. There wasn't like Wilson didn't pull right up next to the dudes as they're chilling, and he just turns and he's right there. He had to go over to him. I mean, there's witnesses to say this, at least. And for me, it's like there are so many witnesses that say so many other things, and then we have to only listen to this one police narrative. This is how it went down. They did this crazy in the car, and he tried to grab the gun, and so since he tried to grab the gun, he died.
How did he reach into the car?
How did he do that?
Yeah.
How did he get in? Thinking about just sitting in a car and your gun is holstered. You think someone's gonna reach across your whole body and like what the hell is that? And we're all talking about this is like a giant dude. Everyone's saying Mike Brown is like the scariest guy I've ever seen. Like it's saying he's so big.
Warren Sapp.
But you're gonna watch somebody come and reach across from you.
Yeah, right.
That doesn't.
You have poor reflexes.
He's in a
You're the
car.
worst cop.
He's in a car. Let's say shit is getting real. He's getting all whatever. Whoops! So we step on the gas a little bit and drive you.
Exactly.
And you get away.
Exactly.
You do so many things.
At the end of the day, you are a trained officer, and so going for your gun should not be your instinct, and it should not be your instinct with the black man. Like that. Like at the very end of the day, it's about your training. How were you trained? Like. You shouldn't be pulling out your gun. Point blank, period.
For an unarmed person,
right.
yeah.
Somebody who is unarmed.
Not a bank robber, not a killing
But see,
spree.
that's what needs to be taught in the police system itself, because I think the training needs to be redone. Like, you need more psyche valves. You need to really go in there and really do some hardcore training. Not like, okay, just shoot to kill. I'm just going to shoot to kill this person.
But they don't train like that, though.
And
seriously, like unloaded on Michael Brown.
Exactly.
You know,
The
just, like, shoot
last
him in
thing
the
you
leg.
do is want to pull
Or
out your
anything like
gun.
that.
Every time they let out a shot, they have to account for their bullet. They that's something that's ingrained in them. Why is it that 9 times out of 10 you're going to shoot a black man, but you're going to apprehend a white male
Or
who's doing the same thing?
An animal. Sorry. Or tranquilize an animal, because you give them some dignity, but you don't give humans.
Why?
Right.
I don't understand how so many black, Hispanic minorities are being killed when they're getting apprehended, but a man that's strapped to a bomb doesn't get blown up. He's apprehended alive. A man with the AK-47 inside of a theater gets apprehended alive. And you have unarmed men being shot dead. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
So they're pissing on us and telling us it's raining, even though we know the truth.
But you guys are thugs. You commit the most crimes, so that's why you get killed. And if you stop killing your own people, then cops will stop killing you. You kill your people the most, so that's really your biggest issue,
They're just
not
watching
cops.
out for you.
Yeah. We're protecting you, KJ. We don't want you to get killed. You're the good one.
Who knows what Michael Brown could have done?
He could have made a mixtape.
God.
Top 5. Dylan, Mike Brown, Dylan, Mike Brown. How did I just make that funny? Because I'm trying to laugh. And I need to end this part of the this segment because I do need to laugh because it's also 11:30 and next topic.
It is 11:30.
Gotta switch your watch.
I said it was 11:30.
She's been on the wrong time for 2
You
days.
was wrong. I said it was 11:30. Look, we see how I come
Alright.
on that. You was wrong. I said it was 11:30.
We're gonna be watching videos to see if they're funny, and then we're gonna laugh. And I don't know which ones we're gonna see. I don't know. We'll fucking figure it out.
Funny videos.
Please show her that other video with that crazy fool.
10 minutes.
The stuff that he said.
Nope.
Oh yeah.
10 minutes is too long.
That's what she said.
10 minutes.
This is hilarious. Watch.
I don't know what I'm seeing. What
is that?
I know, right?
It's the same sound.
What is that?
Okay, we're seeing correctly, right?
Yeah, it is what you thought it was.
Okay.
I'm not going to talk about it, but it is what you thought it was. My friend Jackie posted this for me. It's a little Snapchat filter of a leopard.
He can't see.
Oh, sorry, Eric.
Looks hilarious.
It is. She's awesome.
I don't know what I ever did before Snapchat filters.
That's too cute. Thanks, Jackie. We love you.
They are cute. That's like the reason I actually got Snapchat.
I was like, you know
For
what?
filters?
Yeah, there's some crazy filters on here. And I was like a year ago. I was so late to the game on Snapchat. It's fucking stupid.
Kim Pelton, your video is way too long, so I'm not watching a 10-minute video for the show. And also, Gary Bjornson, this is yours. This better not be too long. Gary's new to the crew.
We'll get
4 minutes! Fuck! No! No, we're not doing that one. Gary, this one better be short. Look at your own face. Look at your own face. 20 seconds.
Open your face! Y'all say look at me? No! Go back over there. Come here. God, say, look at me. No, sir. Why are you still looking at me? No, sir. No, sir. Look at the ground.
Gary, look at your own face. Thank you, Gary. It's now officially hot in my body.
That was so awkward.
How to tell if you are vulnerable to CIA hacking tools.
Sounds hilarious.
Better be 30 seconds. Okay, a minute. I can do a minute.
WikiLeaks recently made an announcement that the Central Intelligence Agency has a large cache of spy tools that they can use to hack into phones, computers, and even televisions.
I'm not laughing.
Here's how you can tell if you're vulnerable to these spy tools. To see if your address is located in the affected area, go to the website maps.google.com and type in your address. If it shows up, that means you're in the affected area. Again, that's maps.google.com. Here's a map of the affected areas. Next, if your cell phone is vulnerable
Colored
to
everything.
Central Intelligence Agency hacking tools, simply go to Google and search for cell phones made after 2003 and press enter. If your cell phone shows up on this list, you may be vulnerable. Finally, to find out whether or not your laptop is vulnerable to snooping by spy agencies, all you have to do is go to the manufacturer's website and look up the make and model number to see if it has a feature called Wi-Fi. And that's W-I-F-I. If it has Wi-Fi, you're vulnerable to hacking. Hope that helps. Subscribe to this channel for more up-to-the-minute security tips and tricks. Thanks for watching.
Gary, you're 2 for 2, and we appreciate that.
On the short ones.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Sesame Street and Bone Thugs. From my buddy Eric. Let's see what the hell he has to say. Actually, we can't do this because we can't see the video. We can only hear the song.
What are you talking about?
But I mean, the crowd, like the viewers can't see the video, so.
But it's still funny.
Oh, I'm sure it is. You know what? We'll listen to a little bit. We'll listen to a little bit.
Do it for us.
Do it
Grover is Busy Bone and Cookie Monster. Oh, this is ridiculous. Elmo.
Yeah, it's the whole damn thing. To make it. So, the whole song. They go solo. They all go solo.
It's perfect. That's in the video too, where it's raining. Lazy Bone is Elmo. You're keeping me safe. Ooh, what can I do? True. Crazy Bone. That Cookie Monster's Crazy Bone. Cookie. Cookie. Chocolate chip. Follow me, Rostro. You look like my last girlfriend. She had a wandering eye.
She really like
I'm looking around all the time. I wonder who the last one is. Flesh and Bone or Wish? It's one of the honker guys, right? It's one of the hunkies. You know. Is that my dad? Oh shit! Hold on, gotta stay strong. Yeah, lean on. We pray. That was pretty solid. Well, I think we've seen enough of it, but thank you, Eric, for posting that. I appreciate that because that was pretty freaking solid. Here's another little funny photo from Ario Saltani. I went to elementary school with that guy. You know, I've known him for a long time. It's a picture of the salesman talking to this guy in a green shirt. It says, "Congratulations on your purchase. Before I can give you the keys, you have to watch our mandatory instructional video." And there's 5 people sitting in front of the screen that has the BMW logo, and it says BMW presents Drive Like an Asshole. That's kind of funny. It's kind of.
Have a BMW.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, you a baller, ain't you?
Those car parts are.
Oh shit!
I'm about to get it fixed. It's expensive.
So I'm looking at it.
You know what?
We're gonna watch a couple more. Is that one a bone? Oh, that's a bone one too. Patty posted the same bone one you did.
It was popular that day.
Apparently so.
Going around.
All right, so doing with the high school and junior high with Tony Espinoza apparently does a comedy routine. I had no idea. We gonna find out. Oh, we gonna learn today.
Yeah.
We aren't gonna listen to 6 minutes, but we gonna listen to about a minute.
Starbucks.
That's him.
$8.50 for a cup of coffee? Are you fucking kidding me? And then you always have to deal with some teenage cashier. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. She's all tuned up on double caramel. What the fuck? To bet the same assholes that go to Starbucks every day are the same cocksuckers in the pink and Hardy shirts with a pop collar, especially while they're driving. The light turns red, they jump into the right lane at the last second, but they don't fucking turn. They sit there. Now everyone behind this asshole is getting pissed off. He's sitting up front. I'm allowed to be a douchebag because I look like those assholes on the Jersey Shore.
Well, honk, honk, fuck you. Thank you, Tony, for sharing your comedy. I hope you keep doing what you do. I think you're out in Florida. Isn't it hot out there? I can't remember. Anyway, Julian Johnson sent me a video, too, of a homeless girl who sings. I haven't watched this video yet. Here we go.
Cool. Shit. That sounds good. Come here, Cole, be quiet. Sounds tight. Sounds nice. I'm here. They putting this on YouTube. Yeah. Precious! Go. I love you, bitch. Hold up. Don't go nowhere, motherfucker. Who are you? Stay right there, bitch. Okay, let me know when y'all ready. I'm ready. Why you still looking at me? Like you ain't got no flashy clothing on. Do I own a piece of bling? Concrete jungle, my only moment, no more than shots. Why you stand looking at me? Like she ain't got no fancy clothing on.
Not bad.
Do I own a piece of bling bling? Yes,
Just a funny video.
I can write and sing a song. This is all I love.
That's a dude. I said girl, but it was a singer.
I mean, I know it looks like a guy. I was like, I'm not tripping.
You know, the singer wasn't bad. He wasn't as good as the taxi cab driver who did Michael Jackson. Y'all remember that one? Oh, I'm gonna play that. Golden voice homeless man.
Hey, we're gonna make you work for your dollar. Say something with that great radio voice.
When you're listening to nothing but the best of oldies, you're listening to Magic 98.9.
That was pretty solid for a dude that looks like he needs at least one shower.
Didn't they clean him up, though?
Yeah,
they did.
He got shit after this.
Yeah, he got hooked up pretty good.
Soul Child on the side. After 2 seconds. If the hair wasn't all scruff right there, it would have been alright.
He looks more like a fat Tito Jackson.
With the hat, because music.
Here we go.
Tô aqui tô em BH, no carro com Michael Jackson. Isso é uma honra para poucos. Valeu? Fica com uma palhinha aí.
So it's summer in Texas.
She was more like a billiard cream from the Morrison. I shared the mind with you, me, and I am the one.
He's been doing it for his whole life. Ever since he heard this.
83.
She said I am the one. The dance on the floor and around.
If you get his isms, you'll be like, I know.
People always show me, be careful what you. Don't go around breaking you your time. Show me, be careful, Lord. Be the kind of way to do, because the Lord begins us through. Hey, Billie Jean's got my love. She's just a girl, reason I am the one.
Let my son
Some 9/11.
And of course, you said something 9/11-y?
Yeah.
Family Guy reference.
It's Family Guy.
Oh, there it is. There it is. I'm already laughing.
I know.
We're gonna beat your ass. You just get that through your stinking traitorous heads. Excuse me, I apologize. We have a lot of Christian affiliates.
Okay, they
I am a
added
Christian.
farting on this
But I
one,
will
so.
stomp your head in if you start a fight with me, you thug scum. Anyways, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. Bunch of cowards. Excuse me. I'm gonna control myself right now. She is a demon damned to hell. Excuse me. I've been trying to control myself, trying to be professional about this. But at a certain point, I just am just really getting pissed. Excuse me. We're not gonna have Pepsi with baby flavoring in it. I mean, what the hell have we become? Excuse me. If I didn't have a liberal from New York in the bathroom, I couldn't wipe my ass. Excuse me. I apologize. We have a family audience. That was wrong, and I won't do it again. You think I'm a coward like you? I'm sorry. You dishonorable, cowardly pieces of garbage. Excuse me. Coming for you.
I love that one.
Coming for you. We know what you're doing.
Who is he looking at?
Sorry.
He's looking off
Manipulative
someone.
blind crap.
Why is he Wally George? Remember Wally George?
No.
Same dude. Same kind
You're
of...
gonna burn in hell. Excuse me. This is a time bomb. You're a big tough guy, buddy. You just ran into me. How do you like that? Now hit me in the face and see what happens, punk. I'm sorry. There's an attack on the species by a guild
just
of
listen to
psychopaths.
everything
They
you
don't
say.
need to be here.
Like a problem?
Excuse me.
He's just a conspiracy theorist who thinks...
I mean, the farting thing's not real. But
that's added, yeah. Somebody could probably take how many times I go, anytime you guys speak, and just make like a 10-minute,
It's funny.
I don't know why my nose is dripping like that.
But his charades, I'm mad though because you don't have the one we watched last week. That was funny.
It's the same.
No, it's not because then you missed the whole like when he was at the podium thing about the Bible and all that. Like it was.
That was Trump.
No, it was.
It was Trump.
But I swear we was missing something else.
That was from the week before.
No, but
the 25 things that Donald Trump
aside
does.
from that one. But I thought we were missing something else from that clip. Like I feel like it was something else, or maybe I wanted to be something else.
he's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Oh, but you got to show her the Trump.
The one about the Bible. Yeah, that is Trump. That is the
Show her the Trump.
Trump. No one does it better than me.
He can do it like me. Nobody can do it like me. Honestly.
Nobody's
stronger than me.
Nobody has better toys than I do.
There's nobody bigger or better at the military than I am. Nobody loves the Bible more than I do.
Nobody builds walls better than me. Nobody's better to people with disabilities than me. Nobody's fighting for the veterans like I'm fighting for the veterans.
There's nobody that's done so much for equality as I have.
There's nobody more pro-Israel than I am.
There is nobody more conservative than me. There is nobody that respects women more than I do. Nobody would be tougher on ISIS than Donald Trump. Nobody's ever had crowds like Trump has had. There's nobody that understands the horror of nuclear better than me. And nobody even understands it but me. It's called devaluation, the sale of the uranium that nobody knows what it means. I know what it means.
Nobody knows more about trade than me.
Nobody knows the game better than I do.
Nobody's in the history of
You say that,
this
yeah?
country has ever known so much about infrastructure as Donald Trump.
I know the H-1B. I know the H-2B. Nobody knows it better than me. Nobody knows politicians better than I do. Nobody knows more about taxes than I do.
Nobody knows more about debt than I do.
Nobody knows the system better than me. Which is why I alone can fix it.
I want to thank Alex Jones. I mean Eric Klein.
Oh no.
I said it in my head and I was like, that's not it, but I'm gonna go with it
It
anyway.
was funny at first.
But I do want to thank Eric Klein and Ashley and Mary for jumping on the show this week. It's been fun. It's been real. We're tired. We did this for y'all. Hope you guys enjoy it. If you don't, too bad. Hit like, share, comment, subscribe. Holler at your boy. Eric, say goodbye.
Peace out, y'all.
Ashley, say goodbye.
Bye.
Mary, say goodbye.
Good night.
Oh, I thought she was just gonna wave. I was like, for real? Is she for real? I saw the hand go up first. I was like, really? Are you gonna be a deaf mute right now?
She did both. It wasn't just like a silent nod, like
My money. No one's nicer to deaf people than me? Nobody. Hello.
They're not listening anyway.
They're not listening.
They're not going to get the Braille transcript, so yeah.
Do you guys remember when Ryan Seacrest was American Idol? I saw a clip years ago where he was trying to high five a guy after he performed, but the guy was blind. And he was trying to high five him, and Ryan's like, I'm trying to high five you. And he grabbed his hand and then made him high five. I was like, Ryan, you're doing too much.
Just smile at the blind guy.
Yeah.
Everyone will know what's going on.
And I didn't mention this guy all day and I forget. My bad. I love you, blind Paul. Peace out.
Peace out, Paul.